After the city of Portland, Oregon spent $724 million on the homeless industrial complex, the mayor is now requesting that the constituents urgently donate to homeless shelters. What in the world is going on? Let's get into it. Here we go.
Portland Mayor 𝗧𝗜𝗠𝗘𝗦𝗧𝗔 is taking a new approach to gathering support for his newly launched homeless shelters. He sent a mass email.
Now, the mayor is asking Portlanders to donate their time, money, and supplies to shelters, implying that they could be facing federal intervention if they don't, similar to what is...
Oh, this guy can't even get that out. He doesn't believe it either. He's like, oh, what? What am I reading here? Look at him now. He's looking down. She's looking down too, going, what in the F is going on here? We've got shenanigans of the highest degree. They know exactly how much money has been spent. And yet there's ridiculous. Oh, you guys got to donate. You guys got to donate. We just spent $750 million in homelessness, and you guys need to donate supplies. Oh, so classic.
In Washington, D.C., Fox 12 Spencer Schott stopped by one shelter that's already receiving some donations. Spencer, what have they received so far?
Well, Pete, Nora, so far they've gotten a lot of household items like phone chargers, tables, and chairs, but they are asking for more household necessities or everyday necessities like clothing, blankets, or even food.
Anything that someone could benefit from that you're not really using in your house anymore.
Jeffers Dickey manages the nonprofit Urban Alchemy's Portland Shelters, Lake Clinton Triangle in Southeast. One of the many shelters that would receive donations through the mayor's recently announced Support Shelters initiative.
We're going to have charging stations there, so if someone's already donated or asked to donate those charging stations, yeah.
The mayor's email went out to thousands of Portland residents and read, "As Portlanders, we face a stark choice. Recent events in Washington, D.C. show us what will happen to Portland if we don't move with speed, purpose, and compassion to address the humanitarian crisis on our streets." Mayor Wilson is referring to how President Trump is sending the National Guard into Washington, D.C. and federalizing the city's police force, implying that could be done in Portland if the homeless crisis is not addressed.
I think that his call to action...
Sorry, what? What is the correlation here? I mean, literally, what are you talking about? There's crime on the streets in D.C. You bring the National Guard in, you don't have murders for a while. That's called reducing crime. That's happening. That has happened. So now we got to get charging stations to the homeless communities because the feds are coming. And if we don't get charging stations to the homeless, I am completely baffled. This logic has taken this to a whole nother level of just buffoonery. What in the world are you talking about, Mayor of Portland? Like, literally, what are you talking about? This makes no sense. No sense. No sense whatsoever. But hey, let's keep watching the video.
Action is essential for the whole city to come together and really address this crisis.
A spokesperson from...
What crisis there, numbnuts? What crisis is that? Where's the crisis? There is no crisis. The federal government is moving troops in to reduce crime. That is not a crisis. The real crisis is your streets in Portland are unsafe. Your commercial real estate market is devastated because you allowed homeless people to live wherever the F they wanted. Your commercial real estate values are down by as much as 90% because you let people live wherever the F they wanted. That's the crisis. Getting people charging stations. Getting money for the sheltered communities. No, this is a try for, this is a grab. This is Mayor Wilson calls for community action. Why? How come? Because we all need to bond together. You know, we love criminals, so we don't want the National Guard coming here to, hammer down on our criminals. Now, Tom Homan has said, I'm bringing the troops in. I'm bringing ICE in. I shouldn't say troops. I'm bringing ICE in to Portland and Seattle. Why? Because Portland and Seattle are harboring criminal illegals, and they're not allowing local law enforcement to help out getting criminals from our midst. That's the crisis. You guys are causing this crisis. Leadership in Seattle, leadership in Portland, you deserve everything you get as far as ICE coming to town. You guys have brought that on yourself by just basically not being smart about this, because the optics of this are horrific. Oh, you guys love criminals. Huh, that's interesting. That's interesting. All right, let's keep going.
The mayor's office clarified on Thursday they are not aware of any direct threats from the Trump administration to send the National Guard to Portland. This new support shelters initiative is simply a reaction to what has happened in other U.S. cities. Mayor Wilson's call to action suggests a whole range of items that could be donated, like small items from food and bedding to larger items like transportation.
Wait a minute. What in the actual F is... Like, seriously, we need food. We need outreach. We need tobacco products. The $724 million spent in taxpayers' money last year wasn't enough for chips, sodas, bottled water, and tobacco products. We need more smokes up in here. We need some more chew. I'm sorry, we don't do that anymore. We no longer do Skoal. We do those Zins. Yeah, the ones where you just get a pouch of nicotine and you don't have to spit. What's the point? So ridiculous. We need hygiene kits. We need underwear. We need underwear because of what's happened in other cities that the National Guard has been sent in to get rid of the criminal illegals. We need underwear for that. We need underwear for our homeless population. Yeah, here it is. That's in hygiene kits and also in clothing. Seasonal clothing, coats, rain gear, shoes, shower shoes, underwear, socks, wallets. We need wallets. Oh, pets. Oh, we need animal cleaning supplies, pet food, leashes, muzzles, toys, and towels. Reunion to get people back with their families. None of these families want these homeless folks back. They just don't. Spendable gift cards for travel or trade for drugs or cash in for drugs. Lice treatment, basic wound care. Aren't all these folks basically just going to local hospitals and local hospitals have to, take on that cost? Isn't that how this game is played? You don't have health insurance. You just go to the ER and you default on the payment. You just don't pay. Isn't that how this goes? But hey, we need canned goods, proteins, dry goods, disposable plates. We need kitchen utensils up in here. Gosh darn it, where's the kitchen utensils when you need them? This is a travesty. Chips, sodas, bottled water. I'm sorry, what in the actual F are you talking about?
Like transportation bans and kitchen appliances. But donating time is just as important.
One of our biggest needs right now is trying to teach our residents just basic life skills like financial planning, even how to cook, how to stay clean. Those kind of life skills are really essential for them to be successful in housing once they move out.
I'm sorry, that isn't covered by the 724. That isn't covered with the nearly $750 million how to cook food for yourself. That isn't covered in there anywhere at all. No. Okay, but you need some underwear. You need some underwear. And gift cards. Get those gift cards going. Let's get some gift cards up in here.
Now, today, I also talked with the senior homelessness response program manager. He's the one fielding all these donation calls since the email has gone out. And he says so far, they've gotten a pretty good response. On the first 24 hours, they got more than 50 donations. And by the end of the day today, that number was up to 75. Reporting live in Southeast Portland, Spencer Shire.
All right, Spencer, thank you.
You people in Portland, you deserve everything you get. That is an absolute travesty. What in the F are we even talking about here? right? What are we talking about here? Because here, let's take a look at this. This is from July of 2025. Portland metro area spent $724 million on homeless services in 2024. But so far, based on the mayor reaching out to all of the constituents or whomever, he's gotten 75 big donations, 75 whole donations. Earlier in the day, we were at 50. Now we're at 75. We are getting somewhere, folks. We are getting where we need to be going. Where is that? Where is that exactly? I don't know. New report puts a price tag on just how much money is being spent on homeless in the Portland metro area, and it isn't small. Report found $724 million spent in 2024. In my understanding, that is up about $200 million from previous years. $200 million. Where is it all going? Because homelessness in Portland is not getting better. It's arguably gotten worse. The numbers say it's gotten worse. And that's because build it and they will come. You've built this whole industrial homeless complex, of which I find super interesting that not one of these NGOs, not one of these, associations put together to take care of the homeless has an exit strategy. Not one. This is all based on maintaining the homeless industrial complex. They have no intentions of really making it any better or ending it, because otherwise they'd have a plan outlined. Here's what we're going to do. This is what's going to happen. And here's how that's going to end. You'd have that in, writing. But none of these organizations, none of these, places that you're going to be you're sending money to, or your time to teach them how to effing cook. I'm sorry. This whole thing is it is so ridiculous. It is so impossibly ridiculous. It's just like, what? You're doing what? For what? Funding comes from local, regional, state, federal resources. Tri-county areas of Multnomah, Washington, and Clackamas counties, the most populated counties in Oregon. You got $724 million, and you're asking for donations. When is enough? When is enough, right? When is enough enough? But you know what? If you're in Portland and this is your thing, if you think that virtue signaling that you're a good individual by giving even more of your money, because let's not forget, taxpayers' dollars, all that stuff the funding comes from, that's you. That's you, the taxpayer. I would be outraged if my mayor said, hey, you guys need to donate. I'd say, no, we've already paid. Go F yourself. Figure out where you can squeeze some more money from that money we already gave you, and go F yourself. You numbnut. According to the report, 43% came from regional homeless services tax and 14% came from federal dollars. Additionally, City of Portland contributed the most for the 9% in-city contributions, state another 5%, and private philanthropy accounted for another 6%. $724 million. And homelessness got worse, and you're asking for more money because of something that hasn't happened yet and that we don't know if it will happen. But hey, let's be proactive. We don't want to be defensive. We want to be proactive. Absolutely mind-blowing. Most of the funding went towards services for people in Multnomah County because that's where all the population is. That's where Portland is. That's where the train wreck is, totaling $501 million. Where'd that go? How many tents did you buy for that? How much in the way of services did you pay for that? How much in the way, that doesn't even count stuff like how many times you sent the fire department out for homeless encampment fires, or the police having to deal with these absolute nut jobs, and you're asking for more money. It's fantastic. This is some fantastic stuff. And by fantastic, I don't mean good, but I mean beyond believability. This is like, Yeah, this is beyond real. This is beyond normal. This is beyond believable. This is fantastic. Report says to maximize impact, a region must connect spending to results. That never happens, does it? Never happens. Homelessness keeps getting worse. And why does it keep getting worse? Well, because the homeless know where a good handout is. And if the handout ends, well, you just ask your constituents for more. And guess what? Okay. All right. Okay. Here you go. Oh, here you go. Trump, orange man, bad. Here you go. You know. Just retarded. That's what it is. It's just mentally retarded. You're mentally challenged if you're doing that kind of horse shit. It's just silliness. That means tracking key outcomes such as housing placements, retention rates, and reductions in unsheltered homelessness, and using that information to inform funding decisions. Well, how'd that work in California? What'd they spend there? $24 billion? Spent $24 billion? What is that? About 40 times more than what Portland's spending here? Something like that? $24 billion, and they couldn't really work out where a large portion of that money went because they don't really have ways to follow up. They don't have metrics. Nobody has real metrics on when is this going to end, because none of this is set up and designed to end homelessness. It is set up to enable homelessness and kind of manage it at best. You're not going to end it. You're going to manage it, and not very well. Because you got a whole bunch of people living on the streets in Portland. And when you do a sweep, they're just going to end up elsewhere, aren't they? They're just going to end up elsewhere. Wild stuff. It's like, you guys, what are you guys doing? I mean, seriously, asking for more donations based on something that literally hasn't happened and that probably won't happen and certainly won't happen in the way that you think it'll happen. Oh my gosh, we're going to lose all of our federal funding because we're not supporting ICE coming to town, because we're not supporting the National Guard coming to town, when we've got just absolute insanity on the streets with Antifa, with Trantifa. I want you to hear this part. We haven't really gotten to the point where we can start to look at these different approaches to how they're spending money that we're taking, looking at the spending that's associated with this and really figure out what's the most productive use of those resources. That's increasingly important right now because the growth of these dollars has plateaued. People are tired of donating to your silly bullshit. Tired of spending money on stuff that doesn't get better, it gets worse. Homelessness on the streets, not going in the right direction. In addition, uncertain funding outlooks at the local and federal levels are exacerbating the issue. The outlook for federal dollars is not great. Frankly, general fund dollars coming out of the city of Portland and Multnomah, those are going to have constraints going forward because property tax revenues are not growing in the way that they have in the past. So we're watching a video now. There's the guillotine. This is outside of Portland's federal ICE facility. We've got the guillotine. Yeah. They are talking about cutting the heads off of ICE agents, murdering ICE agents. This is the out of control that federal government that Trump is talking about. Oh, he's lighting a cigarette? So here's the scene that Trump wants to end. You know what? Trump is absolutely right when he says this is going to be very easy to fix. You just clear out these people. I mean, this is not hard. I mean, these people are so weak. Antifa is so weak. They are just, you just blow them over because they're all a bunch of losers. They're just a bunch of rejects. And who else is going to be down there at all hours of the day and night, you know, protesting against law enforcement, taking criminal illegals out of their community? A bunch of losers is who's going to do that. So, look at this. Losers. media.
Everyone must leave this restricted area and may be subject to detention, arrest, or exposure to chemical munitions for failing to depart the restricted area.
This is the war zone. Look at this. Look at this. These people are stupid. Look at these. Send in the National Guard. Send them in. Clean this shit up. That's just nonsense. 100% nonsense. That needs to be cleaned up. And you know what? Send in the National Guard. That is absolutely absurd. Now, the mayor wouldn't be begging for donations if he just held basic law and order standards, which is you can't be out there doing just nonsense, guillotine, talking about murdering law enforcement. Can't be doing that on the sidewalk just, hey man, what's going on? So Mayor of Portland brings this on himself. And so I hope the constituents can see that. But you know what? They probably think, oh, we hate ICE. I mean, we love criminals. Clearly they love criminals. So, arresting criminals, not really what's important to, folks in Portland. But what is important is that 75 of them donated by the end of the first day some stuff on top of $724 million having already been donated. Don't forget, 75 more donations. I mean, every dollar counts, right? Even though we don't really know where most of that has gone. And we do know that a large percentage of that goes to the salaries of these NGOs, of these homeless advocates that have no intention of ever actually solving homelessness because they'd be out of a job. So, podcasts for days, weeks, months, years, decades moving forward, because that's what's going to happen with these big blue cities that have incurred this type of homelessness within their populations. Thanks so much for being here. Love to have you subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.